Hello guys, welcome back onto the channel. It goes without saying that I was so damn excited for this demo to come out, and it was very surprising to me that they decided to release the demo today without any sort of announcement. And it's available for both the Xbox One and PC, so if you want to check that out for yourself, you might want to head to the Windows Store and download the game to play yourself. One thing that I like to mention before we get started on this video is that this is actually my very first hands-on impression with the game. I didn't have early access to the game like many other YouTubers, so what you're gonna see right now is my very first impression and my very first reaction to what the game has in store for us. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the game and see what the game is all about.
Here's what I see. I see a festival that never ends. Where you can be whatever you want to be. It's not your dream holiday anymore. It's your dream life. That's the horizon I see. Let me show you. Welcome to autumn, a new beginning for the festival that never ends. Don't go anywhere. Horizon is here to stay.
And there we go. I've seen this scene so many times and I still got excited for seeing for the first time myself. And I'm doing an experiment. I'm running the game on the PC. I have everything set to ultra just to see how my computer is able to handle it. Not sure how good. Let me pause the game just for a second, because this is gonna give you a pretty good idea of whether or not. Oh yeah, we have the assists. Let me turn them off right now. Alright, that's good enough for me. Let me change the video settings in. Just so you see, I'm running the game at 4K, 60 frames per second locked, VSync on, motion blur set to short because that's the recommended setting for my setup. And here I have everything cranked up except for MSAA. I can push it all the way to 8 times, but I don't want to risk it. So in FXAA I have it set to off. So that's everything set to ultra. Let's see how my computer handles. Just to give you a reference, I have an Intel Core i7-8700K paired up with 16 gigabytes of DDR4 memory and a GTX 1080 Ti. That's my computer right now. So let's see if the computer is able to handle these settings. And so far so good. Looks like we have a locked 60 frames per second, which is great. We kind of lost a couple frames there when we hit the water. And GPU utilization is close to 100%. So I might want to dial it a little bit back down, just to make sure we have a little bit of overhead to play with in some of the busier scenes. Now, one thing that I like to mention though is that my very first impression with this McLaren Senna is that the physics feels a little bit different. It feels like they tweaked it a little bit. At least that's my very first impression. In Forza Horizon 3, the cars felt a little bit lighter, nimble. That's the word that I'm looking for. Let me pause it again and just dial the settings a little bit down. But as you can see, it is a demanding game, but it's not necessary for you to have everything set to ultra. So let's see what I can dial back down here. Let me Dial this one back down. Mirror quality, I can set it to low because I don't play it in first person view. Water reflections, I think we can drop it down a little bit. Dynamic geometry, no. Motion blur quality, I think it's good like this. And shadow quality, which is a very demanding setting, we can drop it down a little bit. And as you can see, we managed to decrease the GPU load by 10%, which is great. But yeah, as I was saying, the cars feel heavier. Right off the bat, I can tell you that. This off-road monster here, it feels heavier than the same car did in Forza Horizon 3. And the McLaren Senna, which would be a car that I would assume would be on the lighter side, especially when you've driven a lot of the hypercars, supercars in Forza Horizon 3. It feels heavier in this game, which is great. It means it's probably a good sign that the game has a better feel that helps differentiate different cars, different car classes, and even within the same classes, you can you can tell the differences between the cars, especially when it comes to weight. And as a result, because the cars feel a bit heavier, the game is gonna be a little bit more difficult for you to play. And one thing that I saw, I know that is a common complaint among players in Forza Horizon 3. Not all players, but I see a lot of people complaining about this stuff on a regular basis, is that Forza Horizon 3 had the tendency to kind of give an advantage for players who had converted the cars to all-wheel drive. And as I said before many times in many of my other Forza Horizon videos, I don't see an issue with that. And the reasoning behind it is very simple. This is an open world game. You have roads, you have off-road sections, but most importantly, you have off-road sections. You cannot expect to have fun driving a rear-wheel drive car in an off-road segment of the map, and let alone be competitive in that scenario. So it makes sense to me that the developers made it so that in Forza Horizon 3 that the cars on all-wheel drive, they have an advantage over other drivetrains. It makes sense to me, and I hope that they keep it the same in Forza Horizon 3, because otherwise what you're gonna see is a lot of people using all-wheel drive cars that come stock like that without any sort of modification, and winning races anyway. You won't be able to convert other cars to make them competitive. You cannot expect a rear-wheel drive car to drive as well as an all-wheel drive in an off-road setting. That's not how it works. So I do hope that they keep this sort of advantage. I don't consider that an advantage when it's available for everyone and everyone can do that with their cars. And when you're running street racing or asphalt racing, you can run pretty much however you want.
Looks like I'm the only one left.
Perhaps they could create a couple lobbies that limited the type of drivetrains that you can choose from. So for example, if you're driving in an asphalt only racing championship, maybe the game can set it up in a way that only rear wheel drive cars are allowed in. And when you have mixed surface and cross-country races, you can use all-wheel drive to your hard content. So we're back in the McLaren Senna. Again, really good first impression. The physics feel really solid, but then again, the physics in Forza Horizon have always felt really solid since the very first game, and they've only improved on the premise of the physics since the very first game came out. The worst game in my... Oh crap, that was awful. The worst game when it comes to physics, in my opinion, in the series is Forza Horizon 2, especially so when it comes to off-roading. Let me turn on the full line because I remember that I had it on, that I had it set to full in Forza Horizon 3. That's better. Yeah, much better. But yeah, what was... Yeah, I kind of lost my thinking here. That was awful. But yeah, as I was saying, I just remembered the worst one physics-wise to me was Forza Horizon 2, especially so when it comes to off-road racing. And the reasoning behind that is that, well, if you've played Forza Horizon 2, you probably know what I'm talking about. It was pretty much a guarantee that you would at some point bottom your car out when you were off-roading. Especially so when you were taking cars that were not prepared for off-road racing. And they changed that in Forza Horizon 3. They made it more accessible. And the way that they found, the way that they used to make it more accessible was by allowing, well, it was by giving all-wheel drive cars an advantage over pretty much everything else. And I think that's the way to go. I know that's not gonna be a popular opinion. I know there's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna give me crap for having this opinion, but that's the way I feel about the game. So we just finished the introductory set of races showing us a bunch of the different seasons. Nothing that anybody hasn't seen yet, especially so if you haven't been following the news. So we can now choose our character. That's not something I really care about. I know that there are a lot of people who are in for inclusion and a lot of this stuff, but I don't care. You could make only one character. It can be a woman, a gay, a black person. I don't mind that at all. It doesn't offend me. It doesn't... I don't care. Your character can be changed at any time in the festival or player house menus once you qualify for autumn. Okay?
Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Kira, director of the festival. Looks like you've made a good impression with our talent scouts.
This one might have a real chance of taking a spot on the roster.
Rebecca's one of our former champions. She's giving me a hand running the Horizon road racing series.
Excited? I remember my first day at Horizon. It's all pretty surreal, huh?
I'll leave you two to get set up for the first race. Good luck.
Right then, let's get you behind the wheel. Which one will it be?
Okay, so our first car choice, we had the Ford Focus RS, the Audi TTS Coupe, and the Dodge Charger RT. I'm not a big fan of muscle cars, but usually they are good. They're a pretty good indicator of how good the handling in a racing game is, because usually these cars are the most difficult to drive in a racing game, anyways. Oh my god, I don't know which one I choose. You know what? I'm gonna go for the blend option, but that's the one that I
exactly my choice as well.
Feel like choosing. So
right now we need to get you racing. All right, let's get you set up with a personalized number plate. Go on, be creative.
Let me just quickly change the license plate.
Maybe not. Can't have you driving around with that.
What? Inappropriate content. Well, you know what? Let's leave it at default then. I don't know what the hell Jotoko means in other languages, but
I expect bet you'll want to get a feel for your new car. So I've signed you up to some events to get you started. See you there.
Okay, so we have our first set of events unlocked. Man, I can tell right off the bat as well that the Audi TT feels a lot different than it does in Forza Horizon 2.
You have arrived at your destination.
One thing that I kind of wish that they cut down on were the introductory cutscenes, because they're pretty much the same across every Horizon game, and they're, I don't know, they're kind of getting repetitive. Let me turn off the radio. And I know that's it kind of pains me to do that, because the soundtrack in Forza Horizon usually is amazing, and it adds a lot to the experience. It adds a lot to that kind of uplifting vibe that Forza Horizon games are all about. But I don't want to have copyright issues with YouTube, so I turned down the volume in the menus before I started playing the game, and I thought it was gonna be enough to get rid of the radio, but there was still a little bit of music going on in the background, and I think that's enough for the copyright ID system on YouTube to pick on, so I don't want to risk it. One thing that I forgot to see was, yeah, I cannot change the difficulty in the middle of the race. Well, we're gonna do that over the next one. Despite the physics feeling a little bit heavier than they do in Forza Horizon 2, they feel very solid. They feel very Forza Horizon-like. And if you've played the other games and you enjoy the physics there, it's pretty much guaranteed that you're gonna enjoy them in Forza Horizon 4 as well. It's just a matter of you adapting to the new way of racing, to the new weight on the cars. It's not something that it's gonna get in your way. It's quite the contrary. I think it's gonna add to the game. I think it's gonna add a lot to the variety and a lot to the skill set that certain players might have within certain type of cars. It's gonna make the game a little bit more competitive. I believe so. I can't guarantee that's gonna be the case, but yeah. Oh, my avatar shows up in the background. That's an illustration that I did. Looks kind of cute.
That was some nice driving out there.
I like the interface.
Like that, and you'll be invited to the next round of the series.
I've always enjoyed the interface in Forza Horizon games, and it's no different with Forza Horizon 4. It's an amazing interface to look at and spend time with.
Hello, I'm Anna, your automated natural navigation assistant. I'll help you explore the festival and find activities throughout the UK.
Okay, so we can summon up Anna for
I have plotted your route to a new race in the Horizon Road Racing series.
for what we can do next in the game. That's something that's present, I think, since Forza Horizon 2, most prominently in Forza Horizon 3. I had never used this feature though. I'd much rather go into the map and just choose the events by myself rather than having a GPS choose that for me. And another thing that I really like about this game, and if you watched some of my earlier videos covering some of the stuff related to Forza Horizon 4, you probably know that I was all for Japan being the set for Forza Horizon 4. And when they announced that the game would take place in Great Britain, it was surprising to me. I did not see that coming. I would have expected something around Asia. There were a lot of rumors surrounding Hong Kong and Japan as possible locations. But I was pleasantly surprised, because as much as I love the map in Forza Horizon 3, I much I much rather have the map in Forza Horizon 2. Forza Horizon 2 features the best map in the sense that it feels very warm, very inviting. The locations, it all picturesque. So you kind of lost that with the Australian setting. That's not to say it's not a beautiful country. It's a wonderful country to look at, wonderful country to have as the map for your game. But I'm kind of glad that they finally brought back some of the picturesque settings into the game by the way of Great Britain. Let me jump into the options and see. Yeah, I was playing on easy. Of course I was gonna win fairly easily. I'm gonna set it to unbeatable. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get my ass handed over to me, but I want to see how the AI is in the game, and there's no better way to test that out than setting into unbeatable difficulty, which is the highest setting in the game. I beat the game in unbeatable in Forza Horizon 3. Some of the races were very easy to win. Some others were a pain in the ass to win. I had to repeat them a lot of times until I got them right. Let's see if that's the case here, or if the game is gonna take it easy on me. I don't know. And the reason why I like to race unbeatable in Forza games, for Forza Motorsport, Forza Horizon, is that if you set it any lower than that, you're pretty much racing by yourself. There's no racing going on. You're pretty much taking a tour around the track with a couple of cars following behind you, and that's pretty much the race. Oh crap, I missed my braking point, but that's fine. I don't know the map. I don't know where I can ignore the braking line. There are some spots where it's advisable that you ignore the braking line. Some of them it's better to brake earlier than the line tells you to. So it's all part of the learning process. It's all part of the fun for me. I don't mind losing the races, but as you can see, I'm not having a huge trouble keeping up with the AI. I'm running this Audi TTS at stock configuration. As you saw, I didn't download any tune setups. I don't even know if the servers are active, allowing you to download other people's tune setups. I'm gonna check that out in a bit. But man, the map looks great. And even though Great Britain wasn't my first choice when it comes to locations for the game, I couldn't be happier that Playground Games decided on Great Britain as the setting for their game. It looks really beautiful. I have to give them that. But yeah, that was a fairly easy win. Sometimes they might make things a little bit easier on the demo, and on the final game they make, I don't know, I might be talking bullshit here, but sometimes this may happen. Nice outfit by the guy off to the left side. Oh, and I usually don't care about customization in games. As I said, I don't care if the character is black, white, woman, gay. It doesn't matter to me. And it doesn't matter to me, especially so in a racing game, when the game gives you the option to customize your character, because I think the central point of focus should be the cars and the racing, but there are people who are into that. But I really enjoy when the game gives you the option to make your characters look ridiculous, and that looks to be the case in Forza Horizon 4. I'm gonna have a lot of fun making my character look as worst as possible.
Do I have an opportunity for you? There's a movie shooting nearby that's in need of a stunt driver. Short notice, I know, but what do you say?
Meet me here ASAP, and I'll introduce you to Mike Steele. He's a stunt coordinator for the movie.
Alright, so before we jump in to the what looks like to be a showcase event, but it's called the Stunt Driver, let's take a look around the map. And if you've been following the news, you know that the game has a map that's about the same size as the one in Forza Horizon 3, but you have about 4 maps into one because of all the different seasons and how they changed the map overall. But one thing that I noticed, and I've seen other people's videos, and I'm not gonna waste your guys' time on it, but there are 3 bridges connecting the city here. I don't even know if that's possible for us to drive this far, but at least as far as the bridges go, you can cross them. My hopes, and if you pre-order the game, the Ultimate Edition, like I did, you know that there are 2 expansion packs included in the Ultimate package, which means there are going to be 2 expansions to the map, like the ones we saw in Forza Horizon 3 by the way of the Hot Wheels expansion pack and the Blizzard Mountain expansion pack. My hopes is that they use this bridge to connect to a different part of the map without any loading screens. Since Forza Horizon 2, whenever they released the expansion packs, you would have to drive to a certain location, then you would have to press the A button to fast travel to this location, which was inaccessible by driving to it. And my hopes is that these bridges these bridges can be used to connect the expansion packs, just like we saw in Need for Speed Most Wanted, the 2012 game. You had the airport area, and if you try to drive there without owning the expansion pack, you would get a message that's saying that the area was out of bounds and that you would need to purchase the pack in order to access the area. I hope that's the case in Forza Horizon, because cutting down loading screens is always a good thing in my book. But as you can see, the map is about the same layout as in Forza Horizon 3. The city section is in the upper right of the map, and you have the other areas. It's pretty much a very similar layout in the way that things are divided within the map. But I'm not gonna fast travel to the event. I want to drive around the map, and I guess I'm gonna be playing this game incessantly until the final game comes out. So, oh my god, I'm such a huge fan of Forza Motorsport and Forza Horizon that sometimes I know that my voice sometimes don't show the excitement that I'm telling you about. And as I said, I'm not a very expressive person. I haven't shown my face in the channel yet. That's gonna happen sooner or later, but that's not like keeping mystery or anything. It's just that I don't have the equipment to do face cams right now. But when I do, you're gonna see that I'm not the most expressive person. But whenever a new Forza game comes out, I feel like a kid again. I don't know, I feel really over the moon when a new Forza game comes out. That's how much I love this game. Oh my god. I noticed that the GPU usage kind of dropped down significantly, and mind you, I'm running with the drivers that are not tuned for the game. I would believe that Nvidia is gonna make a new driver as soon as the game comes out, about a day before the game comes out. That's a driver ready for the game that's gonna make further optimizations to the GPU utilization in the game. So I think when the driver comes out, it's quite possible that we're gonna be able to run the game with everything set to ultra. Let's see if that's the case when the game does come out. And when the drivers come out, I'm gonna run this test once again and see if that's the case. Okay, so we're driving a car that was ported straight from Forza Motorsport 7. That's one of the DLC cars they added into the game. That's the Bugatti Chiron. I love this car. And surprisingly, this car feels a lot lighter than the McLaren Senna. I wasn't expecting that, especially so because in Forza Motorsport 7, this car feels really, really heavy. Oh crap, I overshot this one. Yeah, it feels a lot lighter, definitely.
You made it. That was quick. Right, let's get everything set up.
I don't know if that's a showcase event. The game calls it a stunt race, stunt something. But that looks like one of the showcase events that we had in, well, pretty much every single Forza Horizon game so far.
Just don't let it get away from you. I'll talk you through it, you'll be fine.
Okay, so we're gonna be doing some sort of danger sign type of challenge. Holy crap, there's a jet. Man, I love these things. These things in Forza Horizon are kind of one of the highest points in the game.
Maybe do some evasive maneuvers.
I really like how this car feels, to be honest. Like it better than McLaren Senna. I thought it was going to be the other way around.
Good. This is all good stuff. Don't relax, kid. We're not done. Keep it loose
And I feel like I've gotten used to the physics already. That's how quick the adaptation process is to the slight new changes that they made to the physics model in the game. As I said, it's not going to get in your way.
It's all marked out for camera coverage, okay? You just line it up, floor it, and pray.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. Holy crap, look at the landscape.
Eyes forward. Ignore the camera. Try to look heroic. And that
Oh my god,
is
that's
a wrap,
so
everyone.
cool.
Congratulations, kid. You survived. Reckon you can do that again? I'll give you a number to casting. Call you if there's another job.
Awesome. So we got 3 stars fairly easily. Now, that's one thing that I like to see changed in Forza Horizon 4. That unfortunately that's not going to be the case, apparently. If you've played any of the expansion packs, either the Hot Wheels expansion pack or the Blizzard Mountain that was featured in Forza Horizon 3, you know that each and every event in both expansion packs had 3 stars for you to collect across all of the events, and these stars would be tied to certain objectives that you had to reach within the races. These objectives ranged from hitting a certain target speed, drifting a certain number of times during the race, pulling all sorts of stunts or all sorts of gimmicks in a race that allowed you to collect the stars in the game. And as far as I can see here, it doesn't look to be the case here in Forza Horizon 4. As you can see, the show, I'm gonna call that this showcase event for the sake of brevity. But as you can see, we have the stars here, but not in the exhibition events that we did, which is a pity. I think it would add a lot to the longevity of the single player mode in the game if they added 3 stars for every single event in the game. Let's hope that they at least keep the tradition when they release the expansion packs, and that they keep the stars in those for us to collect, because I really enjoyed doing those and replaying certain events to get the stars that I didn't manage to get in my first run. But anyways, guys, that's been my very first hands-on look into the Forza Horizon 4 demo. My impressions couldn't be better. I'm a little bit biased, I gotta say. I love Forza Horizon, I love Forza Motorsport games. And if you don't agree with me, that's fine. If there are other games that kind of more... they kind of suit you better, that you kind of feel better playing, then by all means play those games. You don't have to agree with me. But from the point of view of someone who is a hardcore fan of both the Forza Motorsport and Forza Horizon franchises, my first impressions with the demo couldn't have been better. I cannot wait for the game to come out in September 28th for Ultimate Edition owners, and October 2nd for Standard Edition owners. I think everybody who loves the franchise is gonna have such a great time with the game. The game is probably gonna be packed with stuff for you to do. There's a whole lot going on in the multiplayer that they've revamped completely. so that they can support the game in the long run, which is something that we did not have in Forza Horizon 3. So that's a very positive change in my book. I think it's gonna add a lot of depth into the game, a depth that we didn't see before. So I'm really curious to see how Playground Games is gonna push the game over the course of the next few months or the next couple years. But yeah, first impressions great. The game looks gorgeous. The game runs great on the PC. Of course, I'm pushing the absolute hardest my hardware. I'm running the game at 4K, 60 frames per second, pretty close to everything set to ultra. But if you have a less powerful rig and you're running at lower resolutions or even 4K at lower settings, you're not gonna have any trouble running the game, at least judging from the demo. I would assume that the final game is gonna be even more optimized than the demo that we have our hands on right now. And the physics are tweaked a little bit to feel a little bit heavier, a little bit more difficult to drive, which is great. It's not gonna get in your way. You're gonna get adapted pretty quickly, and that's it. That's all I can say right now. I'm gonna see if I can bring more content around the demo. Let's see what else the demo has to offer. But yeah, if you like the franchise and you don't want to pre-order it, don't. But by all means, give the game a chance because you're not gonna regret. The game is really fun and it's all. It's Forza Horizon. That's nothing else that I can say about it other than saying that it's Forza Horizon. That's a pretty big selling point to me. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the very first look onto the demo. If you did enjoy the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more Forza Horizon 4 content. I'm going to be bringing tons of content around this game. I'm super hyped for the game. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends and on your social media. Helps me out a lot and I really appreciate the help. Follow me on Twitter and I hope to see you guys on the next one. Bye.